presents a new upcoming class. Stay tuned. Sacred Bonds by Daryl Abdullah Kirk. Yes, Sacred Bonds, navigating the depths of Muslim matrimony and the family. You don't want to miss this one. Please stay tuned. Streaming on all major platforms right here on Sunnahfollowers.net.
Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salamallah, wa rasulallah. I want to welcome everybody to our series of the sacred bonds. The sacred bonds of what? This is the class where, as we speak about the sacred bonds of marriage, the sacred bonds of marriage, and those bonds are becoming less and less sacred every day, unfortunately. And why do I say that? Because even though marriage is something sacred for us, marriage is a contract that allows a woman and a man to be together lawfully. Marriage is a contract that allows a man and woman to live together and care for each other lawfully. And this is sacred. This is something extremely sacred. Because when you marry and you consummate that marriage, you in turn are giving yourself to another person. You're becoming a part of that person, and that person is becoming a part of you. When you enter into each other, this is something sacred in Islam. This is something sacred for us Muslims. But we're living in the days of fitan, the days in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us of, when when hardly anything will be sacred. Not just marriage, even our belief in Allah. We claim to believe in Allah, but when Allah tests us in that faith, do we truly believe? We say that we love Allah, we love His Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but are we honoring Allah's laws? Are we living up to the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? That's the question. So, this class discusses the sacred bonds of marriage. And we've discussed that in Islam is not just a religion. It's also a beautiful way of life, detailed to us by Allah. Allah told us how to live our lives. He taught us how to live in this world. All we have to do is obey Him, obey His commands, honor His obligations, honor His laws, fulfill that commitment that we made when we declared La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. This is a statement that brings us into the folds of Islam. But how many of us honor that commitment? How many of us honor that statement? That's the question. So we've talked about how there's certain conditions of marriage. Who can remember what are the conditions of a valid marriage contract? Can anybody remember? What are the conditions of a valid marriage contract? Can anyone remember?
Number 1, the girl must have a wali guardian. Number 2, they must have a diary. Number 3, they must have witnesses, 2 males or 4 women if you can't find the males. And the last one, the wedding announcement has to be announced.
Okay.
Walima, but it has to be announced.
Okay.
You have to announce it.
And what's the purpose of the walima?
First. The walima is to announce it.
There you go.
For everyone to know it.
So just so everybody knows, that's the purpose of the walima. The walima is also, to announce to everybody that I'm married. That's how it's no secret. You had a walima? That's the question. For you sisters that don't know what a secret marriage is, you had a walima, people came, ate your food, congratulated you on being married. So how do you think you was married in secret? We have to use our noggin. You don't have to have a PhD. You know, understanding is not based on a PhD. PhD is a paper that Kafirs give you. You know what I say? What to do with that paper? Toilet paper? Ah. Anybody can go find some toilet paper. But how many of us can find hikmah? I made a joke. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to joke. Like he said, there's nothing wrong with joking in Islam as long as you joke with sincerity. So we know what we can do with our PhDs. It makes good paper for the wiping. Okay? You got it, Latifah? Latifah? That's an inside joke. People in my Zoom room know what I'm talking about. You know? But can somebody give you hikmah? No. Hikmah is understanding of this religion. Understanding of Islam only comes from Allah, not from the kafir, not from man. And Allah tells us that he only gives hikmah to just a few people, a few humans. He doesn't give hikmah to everybody. He said, I only give it to a few of you. The ones I like, the ones he likes. So if you want hikmah, you got to live your life earning Allah's love. You Muslims understand that. Until we earn the love of Allah, you can forget about hikmah, because Allah said he ain't giving it to you unless he love you. Okay? It's going to be more people in hell than paradise. Y'all know that, right? Mm-hmm. You better learn how to earn the love of Allah, people, and wake up. Take that toilet paper on somewhere. You can buy toilet paper anywhere. And I do mean buy, because don't no PhDs come free. Do you have to pay for hikmah? Students, do I have to pay for hikmah? No. No, but you got to pay for that PhD. Give me $100,000. Give me $200,000. Give me $500,000, and I'll give you a paper saying that you got a PhD. But Allah don't work that way. You can offer Allah the sun and the moon and the stars, like you can give it to him. He ain't gonna be bartered with. We have to put this religion into practice, guys. So, valid marriage contract. You have to have willing people. In other words, there's no marrying against your will. We get these people that come in here and say, Sister Layla, I was forced into marriage. Oh, yeah. Did your mother put a gun to your head and threaten to blow your brains out? No. Then how do you mean you were forced into marriage? You got married because you wanted to. You got married because you wanted to please your mother, please your father. That's not the same as a gun being put to your head and you're told to either marry or die. That's forced marriage. So, two willing participants. The woman has to have a guardian to oversee her affairs. There should be 2 male Muslim witnesses. The guardian must be Muslim too. Okay, the marriage, there should be a walima. The purpose of that walima is to announce the wedding. Okay? And the dowry. Who does the dowry go to? Does it go to my father? Does it go to my uncles?
The dowry is for the woman.
Good job. The dowry's for the woman. It's not for your father. It's not for your uncle, your brothers, your granddaddy. We don't sell our women anymore. Oh yeah, we used to sell women before Islam. Before Islam, women were sold all the time, given away. A lot of them were just given away. Islam came about in the 6th century and brought with it rights, liberating women. That's why there's no need for feminism today. Allah liberated us women. Allah gave us rights that we never had before. And no man, no woman, no jinn can offer you better rights than Allah has given. We have to understand that. Okay? So then we talked about the obligations of once the marriage has been, the contract has been fulfilled. That's when the two parties move in together, because marriage is just a contract. It can be verbal or it can be written. Contracts are written and contracts are verbal. It's best to make it in writing, but a verbal contract is just as good in Islam. Okay? After the contract has been fulfilled and agreed upon by both the parties, that's when they move in and start to live together in peace and happiness. And hopefully you don't get no grits poured on you. Okay? So, what are the rights that the woman has over her husband? Who can remember? What are the rights that a woman has over her husband?
One of her rights is she has, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. She has the right to be provided, maintained, and protected.
Did she leave anything out, anybody? Good job. She said she has the right to be provided for, the right to be maintained and protected. Can y'all think of any other rights? This should have been discussed before the marriage, but it's very important. What's the other right? Go ahead. The other person, get on the mic, get on the mic.
She has the right to have her own accommodation.
Very important. Hold that thought. She has a right to her own accommodations. What does that mean? I have the right to my own place to live. My home is not with your mother. I did not marry your mother. I did not marry your father. I did not marry your sister. I don't care how much people trying to advocate LGBTQ. I ain't married your sister. Better take that on somewhere. Okay, I married you. And that's the right. Your guardian should have went over that with you guys. That should have been established before the wedding. The right to my own accommodations, my own place to live. Be it a tent, be it a house, be it a car, apartment, whatever we agreed on. And people do different strokes. Some people like to live in a car. Whatever we agreed upon. Okay, but I'm entitled to it. What are the rights? Is that it?
She has a right to be fair treated, justice, no abusing her, no none of that.
Very important. This is something that the guardian will have established before the contract is sealed with a kiss. Literally. She has a right to be treated fairly and justly. Remember 2 weeks ago for my Sunnahfollowers, my Ask Sister Layla live class, I had a brother join here. What was his question? Can anybody remember? He wanted to know, can he beat his wife up because when she gets angry, she gets loud and she uses profanity. So can I bust her in her face, Layla? Believe it or not, that's the ideology that a lot of the Muslims have. Arab and non-Arab. They believe that a woman can be busted in her face and beaten up and abused because you dislike one of her characteristics. That's not Islam. You can't beat a woman up because you don't like her character. If you didn't like her character, you shouldn't have married her. And if you did marry her and find out that she has bad character, what do? Who can answer that? What do we do if we get married and I realize that I don't like his character or he doesn't like my character? Do we just beat each other up or what do?
You can have a divorce, get a divorce.
Exactly. In Islam, you get divorced. Divorce is good and clean. Good and clean. That's why Allah made it good and clean. That's why he made it lawful. That hadith, we talked about it. That hadith that says that of all the things Allah made lawful, the thing he dislikes the most is divorce. That hadith is a lie. It's not even weak. It's fabricated. It's a lie somebody made up. Probably one of the Mu'tazila. They're always trying to mix Christianity with Islam. There are some Christian groups that don't believe in divorce. So it's probably some innovator who converted to Islam from out of Persia or out of Syria and tried to mix Catholicism with Islam and make it haram to get divorced. Well, divorce is good and clean. If your wife has a characteristic about her that you don't like, after you sit down and talk about it and try to work it out, if she doesn't change, then you can divorce her. But under no circumstances does a man put his hands on his wife to cause pain to her. That's not Islam. The Prophet Muhammad said the best of men are those who are good to their wives. A happy wife is a reflection of a good man. What about this? You marry a woman who pretended to be a righteous woman, but once you get married to her, you find out that she's sneaking out the house, taking off her hijab. She's still on the telephone talking to her male friends. When you go out of town on business, you can't trust her. Trust her to stay home and guard in your absence. What you'd have her guard, how do you handle a woman like that? Who can tell me?
First, you got to talk to her and make sure that she understands what she's doing is wrong. If she continue to keep doing it, then you deny her bed. You don't sleep with her at all. Deny the bed from her. And if she continue to do it, then you will hit her lightly, but not breaking any skin or anything like that, just to let her know is, hey, I don't approve of what you're doing. And if she continue to do it, you divorce her.
Yes, that's the type of woman that verse of the Quran was revealed about. A skank. What's the word we use for those type of women? Grassroots English. Those are women that are known as skanks. A skanky woman. That's a woman that you can't trust. That's a woman that you can't trust to guard her chastity, to guard you, to guard children or anybody else. And we got a lot of skanky women out there. But you don't have to go through all that. If I find out that I'm married to a skank, can I just go ahead and divorce her, or do I have to follow those steps?
No, divorce her.
Just divorce her.
Exactly. You just get rid of her. Because skanks very seldom change. Keeping it real. So this misconception that a man can beat up on a woman because he sees a characteristic about her. I got a loud voice. Does that mean a man can punch me in the face because he doesn't like the fact that my voice is naturally loud? Try it. Okay? We have to stop taking this religion, guys. We got the people on the far left, and we got the Muslims on the far right. The Muslims on the far right, they want to beat up on their women because they don't like the fact that she got a loud voice. Then on the far left, we got these Muslims that want to try to compromise the deen. We can tweak it. We can tweak the Sharia law, the laws of Allah, and we can try to blend in with society. Let's adopt some of the Kaffir's ways, the psychology of this. Kaffir number John Doe. John Doe wrote a book, and in John Doe's book, he said, do this. And Jane Doe, we got that extreme. Both of them are sad cases, okay? And both of them are wrong. We have to stay in that middle, stay in that circle, stay in the circle of truth, stay in that middle of truth. Y'all understand that? By sticking to the laws of Allah, sticking to doing things the way He said do them. And so now, last question. Allah is an equal opportunist. He doesn't give more power to one person over another. What are the rights that a husband have over his wife?
He has the right to be obeyed in everything that Allah commanded him to have the right to be obeyed in. Another one is that he has the right to guard. He has the right for you to guard in his absence what you would guard if he was there. So basically, his home, his children, his property, everything that has to do with the household. That's what you're supposed to guard in his absence. He has the right to be satisfied. If he call you to bed, then you are supposed to commit. You are supposed to satisfy him in bed, only if you is not on your period or anything like that. But other than that, if he call you to bed, then you satisfy him in bed. Another right that he has is not to let anyone into his home that he doesn't approve of. And another right is for you. When you leave the house, he needs to know whenever you leave in the house, and you just don't go out on your own and do whatever you want to do, because he is the guardian.
Exactly. Y'all can see that her husband got a good wife, and she got a good man. They know their roles. They know their rights. They know their obligations. And they doing a good job raising their children. Okay? That's what happens when two Muslims get together Islamically and do it the right way with guardians and witnesses and stuff. And they understand what their roles and rights and responsibilities are, then marriage is balanced. Okay? So those are the things we discussed about marriage. Marriage, again, is a legal contract that allows a woman and a man to live together lawfully. Each one has roles to play. Each one has obligations to fulfill. It's all for the betterment of themselves and their children, along with Islam. And so today what we're going to do is continue this chapter, which is chapter 15, I think, or 16, one of them. We're going to speak about a problem that many marriages face today, not respecting the mahrams, not respecting the mahrams in Islam. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Okay, hold on. Yeah, that's the slideshow right there. Okay, we're going to speak about the mahrams in Islam. First of all, what is a mahram? A mahram is a person. It refers to a person with whom marriage is not permissible. In other words, it's a person that I cannot marry under any circumstances. Again, Allah sets the laws, the rules for us, for our betterment. So we need to learn who the mahrams are. And I suggest you parents teach your children who the mahrams are when they're 7. Remember, the Prophet said, teach them at the age of 7. Every Muslim child over the age of 7 should know who their mahrams are. And for a Muslim woman, the number one mahram for her is her father and her grandfathers. I can never marry my father. I can never marry my grandfather. It doesn't matter which side of the family. It doesn't matter what side of the family it is. And that's based on the verse where Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning, forbidden to you for marriage are your mothers, your daughters, and your sisters. Also, another mahram is your son and your grandsons. It don't matter if it's your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson. Under no circumstances can a woman marry her sons or any of her sons' children or her daughter's sons either. Okay? And also your brothers. And it doesn't matter if y'all got the same mama or not. And this is a big problem with Arabs. Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about this. This is another thing that ticks me off. Yesterday we spoke about culture. You know, I'm half Arab. Father side. You know, the Arabs got some filthy culture too. Let's talk about it. They like to play the dozen with that half brother, half sister. We don't do that stuff in America. But Arabs are big on this. He's your half brother. She's your half sister, because Arabs have always did polygamy. Maybe your father had 4 wives. And then he divorced them and got 4 more and 4 more. So you got 25, 30. You got 30 brothers and sisters with different mothers. So the Arabs are big on saying, oh, she's your half sister. Like that means that I'm less than being his sister. I don't care if I'm a half. It don't matter if I'm a quarter. It don't matter if I'm a third. I'm still his sister. But Arabs try to make a big deal out of that. It's cultural. They'll make up their own rules about marriage too. How many of y'all know this? If a woman wants to get married and she goes to the father, Papa was a rolling stone and he finally died. So now she needs a guardian. And her uncles were all, wherever they laid their turban was their home. So they did too. Oh, this is big in with Arabs. They know where I'm going with this. So you go to your brother. You go to the brother that you closest to, and you say to him, I need to get married. I need you to, represent me. You know what they do? Let me tell y'all what the Arabs do. And this is not Islam. This is not based on what Allah said. This ain't based on nothing from the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is tribalism. Because especially the Bedouins, we call them Bedouin. And if there's a lot of Bedouin Arabs, it's Bedouin. They'll do this. They'll tell you, oh, I can't represent you because you're my half sister. And you'll be like, what? You got to go to one of your other 30 brothers, but go to one that's got the same mom as you, because me and you got different mamas or different daddies. Oh yeah, that's some cultural garbage. A lot of Arab women try to get married, can't get married because of that family drama. That family drama that goes on because of different daddies, different mamas. So who pays the price? The righteous woman. Because of the jealousy and infighting of that tribal crap that's usually instigated by the mother. By the mother. You mad because she got a different mama. Your husband married somebody other than you. Oh, it's a lot of crazy stuff. Arabs got some crazy cultural garbage. Bedouin. And they probably listening to me laughing because they know I'm telling the truth. But technically in Islam, it don't matter. Half brother, half sister, half mother, half father is still your mama, your father, your sister, your brother. That's what Allah said. They're mahrams to you. You can never, ever, ever, ever marry him. You can't say, oh, that's my half brother, so I can't cover up around him. I mean, I got to cover up. Oh, they take it to the extremes. We got some Bedouin Arabs that are taken to the extreme where they'll say, oh, she can't come around you with her hijab off because she's your half sister. Oh, yeah, they do this. Bedouin. Bedouin. Big problem. That's not Islam. That's ignorance. It's cultural ignorance, but it exists. So your guardians, your mahrams are any brothers and sisters you have. It doesn't matter if they got the same, both parents are the same as yours or only one parent. They are mahrams. Allah says that in the Quran. So that tribal crap, it's garbage. Also, your uncles. And again, it doesn't matter if the uncle is on your mother's side or the uncle is on your father's side. The fact that they're your father's brother or your mother's brother makes them your uncle. And they are mahrams to you. You cannot marry them. They are mahrams to you. And it doesn't matter if it's your great uncle, your great great uncle, your great 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 uncle. It doesn't matter how great he was or is. He's still an uncle. And they are mahrams to you. Does everybody understand that? Also your nephews. And again, because some of these tribal Arabs will play this. The Bedouins, oh yeah. I got a lot of them in my family. The Bedouins, they play this. Oh, that's your half-sister's child. So since that's your half-sister's child, she has to wear hijab around you. Oh yeah. This is some of the filth that tribal Arabs put in Islam. Again, in America, we don't view stuff that way. My sister's my sister, don't matter. My nephew's my nephew, don't matter if they half or not. But Arabs are big on that half stuff. They'll go so far as to tell your niece that she can't come around you unless she's got a hijab on, when she's a mahram to you. Just because y'all got different daddies or different mamas don't change the fact that you're still brother and sister. Everybody understand that? Islam, remember, Allah says in the Quran that if man made the laws to live by, the earth would be nothing but total chaos. And that is so true. We'd all be living in chaos because man's bases laws on his likes, his dislikes, his emotions, where Allah is just and true. And of course, whenever a woman gets married, your husband becomes your guardian and your mahram. But if you get divorced, let me put this in here, because a lot of my new shahadas have asked me this. They thought that their ex-husbands were mahrams. No. Your husband is a mahram only as long as you married to him. But once you and him get divorced, he is no mahram to you. You cannot be alone with him. You cannot show your hair around him. You cannot talk to him. You have to separate from him. So the husband is a mahram only as long as you are married. But if you divorce, he's no longer a mahram. I want you new shahadas to write that down. But his father remains a mahram to you. And for you brothers, when you divorce a woman, she's no longer a mahram to you, but her mother will always be a mahram to you. Y'all understand that? I was married to the old man. When me and old man got divorced, my mother is still his mahram. The old man took my mother on Hajj. My mother made Hajj with the old man. Me and old man were divorced. Okay? And not just your mother and father-in-law, the son-in-law too, for the women that, your son-in-law. My daughter's been married. She's been divorced. But her ex-husband is still a mahram to me. I can travel with him. He can come over here and help me like he does sometimes to move stuff out the house. Okay? So the son-in-law, the daughter-in-law, the mother-in-law, the father-in-law will always be mahrams to you. But your husband won't, and neither will the wife. Also, any children, they will always be mahrams to you. Any children that the woman you married and had sexual relations with, they are all mahrams to you. An example, my stepfather. Even though my mother and my stepfather divorced, my stepfather remained my mahram. He was also my wali when I got married. Okay? So any children that a woman had that you were married to, if they're girls, they're mahrams to you, and the same with stepsons. Like me, I ain't got no sons, but I got a bunch of stepsons, okay, from the men who I was married to. Their children, their sons are not lawful for me to marry. So they're mahram to me. Everybody understand that? Because why? The person's asking why. And this is a good question. Let me make the screen a little larger. We have the hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the sperm is like blood and the breast milk is like blood. So sperm and breast milk are like blood. Any woman or any man that enters into each other, the sperm is like blood. Each one of their children's become mahrams to each other. And that's the same here with let me go back to making it bigger. The breast milk. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the breast milk is like the blood. What's the source of these hadiths? All of these are Sahih Muslim. And Islamic law recognizes that through breastfeeding, that person becomes a mahram. You got some people that will tell you it's got to be 5 sucks. You got some that says 10. The correct answer is 1. What's the source? Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Aisha radiallahu anha said, even if it's one suck, that child becomes a mahram. The thing is, as long as it swallows it. So if a child takes your breast milk, and even if it's one suck and swallows it, that child is now your child. That's why you Muslim women have to be careful who you are nursing. Because if you're nursing somebody else's child, that child becomes your child. And the child's relatives become mahrams to you. So we have to be careful with this. The Arabic women, and we still have some Bedouin women who still suckle. Oh yeah, they still do that. You know, they still do that. I have some relatives that live in the Emirates. And when my relatives get pregnant, they paid for suckle nurses. They would take the kids to the desert. And they still take the kids every summer to the desert so they can learn the original Arabic language, the Fusha. Okay? So they still do that. The traditional Bedouin Arabs do. Like I say, there's a lot of Bedouin drama. Oh yeah, y'all want to see some good family drama? Meet some Bedouin Arabs. My family's Bedouin. Okay? They are. The brother here said, I got them too, Layla. Don't worry. I think we all got Bedouin family. He said, yeah, I got it. Okay. So yes, that's why you sisters have to be careful with that breast milk. That's why you can't give your milk away in charity like that. Because a woman has to keep check of who drinks her milk. Because any child under the age of 2 that drinks your breast milk becomes a mahram to you, a relative to you. And we have to know who our relatives are so we don't end up with incest. So understanding who qualifies as a mahram is essential for every Muslim woman and man. And like I tell you guys, you should teach your children this at the age of 7. I tell my grandkids all the time, don't go around playing that cousin stuff. Something that African Americans do. White Americans do it too. Oh, that's my cousin because y'all close. Oh no, I have to correct my grandkids. I said, that ain't your cousin. That person does not share your blood. That's somebody you grew up with, but she is not your cousin. Don't get it twisted. You have to know who your mahrams are, guys. Knowing who our mahrams are, keep the bloodlines clean, the bloodlines good, and all of that.